know about this guy is that it's very well machined, meaning that if it's not moving when you're trying to make it move, then that means something is locked. These little guys all are locking mechanisms. So if something's not moving freely, with the exception of the focus is supposed to be pretty tight. All right, so what we need to do, we need to figure out, did I get it right away? Did I actually get it right away? I think I did. All right. See that there's a little scale right here, 0 to 3, and this guy slides up and down. And if you notice, there's a little mark right here. Right there. It's not easy to see, but there's a little mark right there. And to center the camera at 0, you slide this up, line up the 0 with that little mark, and then tighten her down. So that starts the camera at 0. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to always be shooting it at 0. But it's right now at 0, so it's centered. Okay? This is the tilt mechanism. We're going to start that also at 0. The tilt mechanism is the thing that corrects for parallax. We're going to get that at 0. As you move it, you'll feel it click into the 0 position. Once it's in the 0 position, tighten those guys up. This is going to affect how you focus and the distance at which you focus. So for right now, we're going to slide it all the way out. And why is this not locking? Something's loose, missing. Something's not right. But this side is working, so we're going to tighten that one. I have to figure out what's missing on that side. Why that's not working. I'm a little worried about that. But this side is working, so it's locked in position. And you see, that's not good. I don't like that. The damage that happens. Okay. These guys back here. Make sure that this is all the way straight up. Lock this in. And these guys should get a little looser so that it can pivot. This should be able to pivot. I don't like how tight they are. Oh, there we go. See how that guy, these are called swings. Okay, see how that swings back and forth? We're going to start that at 0. So it looks like when these little handles are pushed back towards you, that frees it up so that the slide can work, so that you can swing it. Okay, so we'll lock those guys. All right, lens. Again, something that you shouldn't have to do because we'll leave the lens on. The cable release stays in position all the time. The only way to take a picture with this camera is with the cable release. Everybody knows how to use a cable release, right? This is a little locking mechanism that you shouldn't have to use. That'll keep it from plunging. You loosen it up, it'll take the photo. Okay. It has a manual shutter, just like my other camera where you had to push that lever forward. This shutter also has to be manually cocked by taking this little lever, pushing it over to the side. You can hear that just took the picture. It's got an aperture, and the aperture is this little guy right here. Slides back and forth, and it's got the positions 5.6, which is the most wide open position, to 45. It's got a 45 because it's really, really hard to get infinite depth of field with a view camera, so they give you really close down aperture so that you can get good depth of field. A tiny little hole. You guys can see the aperture, right? See it? See the little aperture? That's closed all the way down. All the way open, of course, wide open, shallowest depth of field. Okay. It also has shutter speeds right on the lens, and they are changed by these guys here, this little dial. Okay, so we'll set it on a shutter speed of 60th of a second. We'll start at f8, why not, f11. Start at f11. Okay. Good. In order to take a photo, this little black button right here has to be down. Has to be in the down position. When it's in a down position, you can take the photo. In order to focus the camera, you need to have that black button up, because up releases the aperture so you can see through it. Down closes the aperture. After you're all done focusing and everything's ready to go, and while you're focusing, that little black button should be up. Okay? Down to take the picture, up to focus. Okay? Again, this is the cocking mechanism. You push it over and let it go. It's not going to take a picture as long as that black button is up. You push it down, take the picture. So shutter speeds on the big dial, apertures on this little pin dial. All right, I'm going to put this in the camera. Again, there's no reason for you guys to ever feel the need to take that lens off now that it's on. Okay. Next, vertical. This is where the film holders go. We'll use, give me this. Okay. I'll show you how to load film in a second. This is the film holder. You just open this up slightly, put that in, push it down until it seats itself, and when you're ready to start, when you know everything is ready, you pull the slide out of the front. Alright, pulling the slide out of the front exposes the film. If this little black button has not been pushed down to close that hole, you just ruined the film. The black button has to be down before you pull this out. Pulling this out means the only thing you're ready to do is take the picture. Okay? But we're not there yet. There's another thing I want to show you. This is vertical. And you can take this whole back off and put it horizontally. Just by sliding those two tabs. So that's horizontal. Okay? Naturally, for most of your portraits, you're probably going to be doing vertical, but maybe for architecture or product, you might want to go horizontal. It's up to you. Okay? Two little tabs at the bottom that this sits into. See these guys? This sits into it. So you can see that a view camera is really not that complicated. It's an accordion bellows, which creates your focal length and your depth of field. And it's a lens. That's all it is. Okay. Don't need this. This is just to keep it closed when you're traveling. Wish I could keep it out of the way. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Any questions on the camera? On any adjustments, and I gave you guys the view camera book along with many other books, and you should have been looking over that book to get ready for this machine. But the book will explain to you how to properly make these adjustments on the height of the lens. Again, I'm going to start you guys out at 0, but that's not necessarily where you're going to want it for any particular photo. You've got your tilts, which are going to allow you to tilt the camera, which will also affect focus and depth of field, and you've got your swings that I showed you before. They're the controls. These dials right here are your focus controls. You can see. Along with the focus, there is also the extension of the bellows, which is this guy right here that I showed you before that I'm a little worried about and why we can't get that to stay tight. I don't know what to do about that. I have no idea why it's not tightening. Maybe that'll lock it too. Anyway, the distance that the bellows is extended is going to also change everything. It's going to change your exposure, of course, because when the bellows is tight, you don't have that long of a focal length. As you go further out on the rail, that exposure is going to have to be increased because the distance to the film from the lens is increased. So again, what you're doing with the camera is going to determine where this is going to be positioned. And most of the time, where this is positioned, it has to do with how far away from your subject you are. If you're very, very close to your subject, there's a good chance that you're going to have to, in order to focus, you're going to have to pull this back. Okay? Really don't like the fact that this is not tightening, but okay. All right, any questions? It's pretty simple. It's a pretty simple machine. Give me that little thing off the tripod. We'll put this on the tripod. Here you go.